The lights inside the studio of The View blazed like the morning sun, bright, warm, almost too perfect. The audience was alive with excitement, clapping and cheering as the familiar upbeat theme faded out. The cameras panned across the hosts, each seated behind the glass table, smiling wide, their coffee mugs lined up like props in a play. Then Whoopi Goldberg's smooth voice cut through the hum. "Please welcome the one and only, the timeless, the beautiful, Jennifer Aniston." The crowd roared. A few people stood up, waving little signs that read, "We love you, Jen." Jennifer emerged from backstage, all poise and polish, dressed in a tailored ivory suit that shimmered under the stage lights. Her hair, perfect as always, fell in soft golden waves around her shoulders. She smiled that famous movie star smile, the one that made the whole world feel like it was seeing an old friend again. "Wow," Jennifer said, laughing lightly as she walked out to the applause. "You all are too sweet." "Thank you." Whoopi stood to hug her. "Good to see you, girl," she said warmly. "You too, Whoopi," Jennifer replied, settling into her chair beside Joy Behar. The camera zoomed in as the applause quieted. It was supposed to be a relaxed, cheerful segment, a chat about her new movie, Golden Hour, and her return to a dramatic role. But from the moment Jennifer sat down, there was an edge in the air, a tension that no one quite recognized yet. Joy Behar leaned in, flashing that familiar mischievous grin. "Jennifer Aniston," she said, the ageless wonder herself. "You look like you've been drinking from the fountain of youth." Jennifer laughed politely. "Oh, I wish," she said. "I think it's more green juice and early bedtimes." Joy's grin widened. "Oh, come on, don't be modest. Hollywood has its secrets, lasers, facials, maybe a little nip here or there. Be honest, Jen, what's the real trick?" The audience gave an awkward laugh. Jennifer smiled but didn't answer right away. Her hand brushed the edge of her coffee mug. "The real trick," she said finally, "is being happy and taking care of yourself. And good lighting never hurts." Whoopi chuckled, trying to steer the conversation back toward the movie. "You're here to talk about Golden Hour, which I loved, by the way." "Beautiful film." Jennifer relaxed again. "Thank you. It's a project that's really close to my heart. It's about a woman rediscovering herself after a tough few years, grief, love, rebuilding, just finding the light again, you know." The audience nodded along, clearly engaged. For a moment, everything was easy again, Jennifer's warmth filling the room like sunshine. But Joy wasn't done. She tilted her head, eyes glinting. "Interesting," she said, finding the light again. "Kind of like how you had to after the whole Brad Pitt thing, huh?" It was a single sentence, tossed out like a casual remark. But it hit the room like a dropped glass. The audience murmured uneasily. Sarah Haynes blinked and looked down. Whoopi's eyes narrowed slightly, her smile vanishing. Jennifer's posture stiffened. Her smile froze for a heartbeat too long, then softened into something forced. "That was 20 years ago," she said, her voice even. "I don't really live in that story anymore." "Oh, come on," Joy said, waving a hand dismissively. "People still talk about it. You know they do. It's one of the biggest love triangles in Hollywood history. You've got to admit, it's hard to forget." Jennifer inhaled through her nose, her jaw tight. The polite smile was gone now. "Well," she said, "it's not really my job to keep people's gossip alive. I've moved on." The air had shifted completely. The crowd was dead silent, sensing that something real, something raw, was happening. Whoopi leaned forward. "Joy, let's keep this. About the movie, yeah." But Joy, either oblivious or unwilling to let it go, chuckled and added, "Oh relax, Whoopi. It's just conversation. Jennifer knows I love her. I'm just saying, she's done well for herself. Strong, single, successful. A survivor." Jennifer turned slowly, looking directly at Joy. Her voice dropped just slightly, calm but sharp enough to cut through the tension. "Survivor," she repeated. "That's a strange word to use for someone's private life." Joy shrugged, still smiling. "Oh, don't take it personally. You're the one everyone relates to. You're kind of the face of resilience. It's not an insult." Jennifer blinked slowly, then looked down for a long moment. When she lifted her gaze again, there was steel in her eyes. "You know, Joy, it's funny," she said softly. "After all these years, I've made films, built companies, supported causes, worked hard to stay true to myself, and yet, people still define me by something that happened when I was in my 30s. The crowd began to murmur in agreement. A few people even clapped. But Joy laughed it off. "Oh, lighten up. I'm just keeping it real. Jennifer leaned back in her chair, folded her hands, and smiled thinly. There's a difference between being real and being rude, she said. The studio went quiet again. Even the crew behind the cameras froze. Whoopi spoke up quickly. Let's take a quick break, she said, glancing off stage to the producers. But Jennifer held up a hand. No, it's fine, she said, her tone measured but cold. I think I've said what I need to say. She stood up. The movement was slow, deliberate, commanding. Her mic wire tugged against her jacket as she removed it, setting it down on the glass table. The clip hit the internet within minutes of the broadcast ending. By the time Jennifer Aniston's car pulled into the private entrance of her hotel, her phone was already vibrating non-stop, texts, missed calls, notifications lighting up like a wildfire. Inside The View's control room, producers were arguing about whether to cut the segment or let it air unedited, but by then it didn't matter. Viewers had already recorded it, posted it, and titled it with words like, Jennifer Aniston puts Joy Behar in her place, live, and, Jennifer walks out after brutal question. The morning sunlight glared off skyscrapers, reflected in the tinted windows of her car as it slowed to a stop. Jennifer took off her sunglasses, ran a hand through her hair, and sighed. She had been in the business long enough to know how fast these things spread, faster than truth, faster than context. Still, she wasn't angry. Not really, just tired. Tired of people thinking they owned her story. Her assistant, Lily, was waiting for her in the hotel lobby, holding a tablet and wearing a look of nervous apology. Jen, it's everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, you name it. You're trending #1 in the US. Jennifer gave a small, humorless laugh. Figures. They're calling it, the walkout heard around the world, Lily added carefully. Some are saying you handled it with grace. Others are, less kind. Jennifer nodded, not surprised. People love a mess, she said softly. They love to pick it apart until there's nothing human left. Lily followed her into the elevator, scrolling nervously through her tablet. Your publicist says don't post anything yet. Just let the clips speak for themselves. You actually come off really well in most of them. Good, Jennifer murmured, because I don't plan to say anything. As the elevator doors slid shut, Jennifer caught her reflection in the polished metal. For a moment she barely recognized the woman looking back, calm on the surface, but with that faint glimmer of hurt behind the eyes. She'd been through years of interviews, endless speculation, magazine covers that called her, America's sweetheart, one year and, Hollywood's lonely heart, the next. She had learned to smile through it all. But this felt different, rawer, more invasive somehow. When she got to her suite, she poured herself a glass of water and sank onto the sofa. Her phone buzzed again, this time, from old friends. Courtney had texted, good for you. About time someone stood up to her. Reese Witherspoon sent a simple, proud of you. You handled that perfectly. Even a message from Adam Sandler appeared. You were classier than any of us would have been. She smiled a little. Support helped, but the noise outside her phone wouldn't stop. News outlets were already dissecting the clip frame by frame, tone by tone. One show replayed her walkout in slow motion, calling it, the defining moment of live TV in 2025. Another accused her of being, too sensitive, claiming that, Joy was just joking. Jennifer leaned her head back against the couch cushion and closed her eyes. A joke, she whispered to herself. That's always what they say. Meanwhile, across town, The View was in full meltdown mode. The episode had finished airing, but the fallout was still spreading. Joy Behar sat in her dressing room, scrolling through Twitter, frowning as she read the comments. Joy Behar owes Jennifer Aniston an apology. Unprofessional, rude, out of touch. How dare she bring up Brad like that? Her co-host Sarah Haynes knocked on the door. Hey, she said gently, poking her head in. You okay? Joy sighed, tossing her phone onto the vanity. It's ridiculous. Everyone's acting like I attacked her. I was just making conversation. Sarah crossed her arms. You blindsided her, Joy. That wasn't conversation. That was personal. Joy frowned. She's been asked worse. Maybe, Sarah said quietly, but not by people she thought respected her. Joy looked away, biting her lip. For once, she didn't have a comeback. Upstairs, in a sleek Manhattan newsroom, the entertainment anchors at Entertainment Tonight were already scripting their segment. Jennifer Aniston's fiery exit from The View this morning has the internet buzzing, the teleprompter read. Fans are calling it iconic, saying the actress handled a disrespectful question with dignity and strength. By the time evening rolled around, the clip had tens of millions of views. Hashtags like hashtag Team Jen and hashtag Respect Aniston flooded social media. Articles popped up with titles like, Why Jennifer Aniston's Walkout Mattered, and, Joy Behar's Question Sparks Debate Over Women in Media. Inside her suite, Jennifer was curled up with a blanket and a bowl of popcorn, the TV muted as she watched the headlines scroll across the screen. She wasn't angry anymore, just thoughtful.